Mike Gill, state of corruption. In 61 years, you know what I found out? That there isn't anything more dangerous than telling the truth. The truth will get you killed. Not set you free. It'll put you in jail. That's right. I have a hearing Monday. Now in this hearing on Monday, in front of Judge Tucker, I bet you we're in a first in a moment of time where I have the head of the cartel of what possibly might be New England, not just New Hampshire, in a courtroom that's corrupted with the head of corruption, the godfather that runs corruption in the state of New Hampshire, Bill Shaheen, and his assistant, Steve Gordon. All right? We're all in this courtroom together. The hierarchy of the drug empires, the hierarchy of the criminality that runs through my courts, in my state, the family courts, the AG's office, and it's for the insurance company they're working for. It's all that umbrella of corruption. We are all in that courtroom together. Bill Shaheen, whose wife is Senator Jean Shaheen, who other senator is the clone that works with Shaheen Hassan. That means the head of the corruption in my state owns 2 United States senators. You see what I'm saying? It's not just in my state. That's why they can reach out to the IRS. That's why they can corrupt the FBI and the DEA. I've proved that multiple times in my videos. I had an 18-wheeler tractor trailer load of fentanyl that I call out of the hospital, which days before I get to the DEA. You see what I'm saying? We are all in that courtroom. We have a history. We have a chance to make history right here and now. Now I'm going to tell you briefly how we got there. And I'm going to tell you briefly what they're trying to do. So you can be with me at that hearing on Monday. I'll buy this video with this information so you know what's going on. And you've got to call the president and the AG sessions. We're all in one place. Now I want you to remember where we are in this game. I'm going to explain to you what that place is. But I've been doing this 10 years. Right now I'm down to President Trump, AG Sessions. I've got the drug cartel, and I've got the protection for all the drug cartel. And then there's me and my camperman Greg. All right? We're all here together. Next to asking Jesus for help. And listen, I do pray for strength. I do. And wisdom and courage. Frequently. But I don't ask Jesus to do the job. We've got to do that. So I'm trying not to swear. Because we need everybody on this. So let's go back into that courtroom. This is what happened, and this is where we are and what's so critical. I'm going to give you a snippet that you've never seen in a movie, but just a snippet in a 6-month time frame of my life. I discovered a Ponzi scheme and the corruption in the banking department in New Hampshire. I went to Alex Walker and U.S. Attorney Kakavis, who both worked for me. Walker was my personal attorney. The company paid Kakavis to represent Lisa Tracy. You're going to like Lisa Tracy because you're going to read this information we're going to send to court. We're done playing games with them. And you'll see Lisa Tracy was connected to Shaheen and Gordon. Kakavis was the U.S. attorney. His job was to sell the Ponzi scheme FRM, make us look bad. He was representing our company. He's been involved in this protection since the beginning. See, The reason why they had to protect, for the people who don't know, New Hampshire had a Ponzi scheme back in 07, 08. It went on for years before that. The banking commissioner's brothers were part of the ownership. It was Shaheen's Ponzi scheme. The only thing is, when they caught Madoff, they caught this FRM too. If they investigated the banking department with the Ponzi scheme, they'd have caught them. But they would have caught them also for laundering drug money. That's why Senator Ayotte came to the rescue. That's why the AG's office come to the rescue. Here's the $64,000 question. If you get to the banking department, you get where the drug money is. And I'm going to give you a bonus. This is what I'm talking about when the puzzle becomes smaller and you find pieces. Guess what? You know why these politicians and these law firms they come from are fighting me getting into the banking department so badly? Because if putting the cartels' drug money in that bank, if it's safe for the drug cartels, it's safe for the corrupt politicians. You think there's two safest places in the world? No. You see, they're in business together. Not only do they protect them, they've got their monies in the same bank, primary bank. We've had 2 banks open in 10 years, and that's one. Got it? And the principals are the drug dealers. All right. So there's the banking department. Brian Toomey and Carrie Lemiuex, my vice president of mortgage specialists, and Carrie, my paralegal. And I'm going to remind you, this has national consequences. Let me go on. They were in communication with Alex Walker in the Delker courtroom, as Bill Shaheen. You see? They were connecting that. They had Lisa. They leveraged Lisa Tracy with her husband who molested their daughter. They owned her. And she brought these people on. So what I'm telling you is there's been years of corruption. Lawyers, paralegals, they're all witnesses now. Right? Why do you think they offered me $50 million? What do you do when you say no? They just met one guy. And you know what? Every time I said no. Don't you want to know what one honest guy turns around and says, no, I'm not going to be intimidated. You got to kill my ass. How far he just might go. Well, we just found out. We're asking the president for help, and I could put 2 senators in jail in a drug cartel. That far. Maybe that explains why I became a world champion in horse racing from being homeless. From going to a seminary to becoming the largest mortgage company in the United States. Maybe a little tenacity, a little insight. Yeah, well, it was the insight that made me $500 million. It's the insight that's going to get me killed. I'll explain. All right? So when I went down there to Miami, this guy, 6'7" Russian, nationalist, on the hour for 3 hours, my door in Miami was banged. You'll see a video, no room service. So I was upset because that person was leaving. I was watching the Patriots game, the Broncos, they went in overtime. I was already upset, so I was walking to the door to see if I could catch someone knocking. Instead, I saw a finger go over my door. I saw my door handle move. I grabbed the door handle, swung it open. There was a 6'7", turned out to be a Russian nationalist. Right. In my room. In my tighty whities, I pushed him out into the hallway. I was on it. I was already pissed off. Cops came and security came. Understand? This guy was there to kill me. My son Clay was with me too. You know why he was banging on those doors? Not to see if I wasn't there, to see if I was, to make sure that I was. When I came back from that trip, I went to Brian Toomey. Remember? The individual giving my information, telling them he's going to report this. When I told him they could have killed my son Clay, who's a witness to this, Brian Toomey cried. All right? 1. Now let me tell you what happens next. Now I had never met Aaron Day prior to that, other than a brief meeting where I spoke at his house actually. But I didn't know Aaron. It was a political thing. So they just tried to murder me when I tried to get the banking. Aaron Day comes to me comes into my office and turns around and tells me a story of Dick Anagos, Griner, Cruz, Auto Fair, how the drug people own Auto Fair, how Micah Specky told him, the town manager of Bedford. Now, I had 5 meetings with Micah Specky. He's saying the previous town manager, Ross Moldoff, was murdered for looking into Aganos. Okay? A Specky doesn't want to get murdered either. But a Specky's son got arrested with Dick Aganos' son, brought into the Bedford Police Department, and let go. So fast that Micah Specky's son's thinking he could get murdered. Micah Specky, who wants to run for governor, who I also have a meeting with Micah Specky and Ginta, Congressman Ginta. So what I'm telling you is not out of school. And Erin was there too. So as it turns out, and this is what I didn't know, you know how the pieces get smaller, the puzzle pieces? Micah Specky was sued by Griner 7 times. Erin Day didn't get on the school board, and his political career didn't get off to the right start because of Griner. So they had a personal hatred for this Griner, who was also the banker for the drug. Okay? So they figured they'd take them all out. Anagos, Cruz, and Griner. So Specky sent Erin on his way. Erin went to State Senator Sanborn in Bedford. Sanborn told him, you don't know that Aganos has been a drug dealer, been a drug dealer forever. I think he said 20, 30 years. And then he went to Avard, Kevin Avard, state senator. Yeah. Then he asked Avard, I need some help here. See, Erin started getting nervous. Because the people he was talking to, like Edelblunt, a gentleman rep who was running for governor, he talked to Edelblunt. He even talked to, I believe, I think he got charged with that, charging to Governor Benson and saying to ex-Governor Benson about being a drug dealer, Aganos and all. So here's what happened, folks. It hit him in the face. You know what they decided to do? Kill Erin Day. Right. How many times have I said when I met Erin, that was about as afraid as I've ever seen a person. He explained that story to me. And then he's brought in Mike Specky, and I had meetings. But on the 3rd meeting that me and Erin Day had, I was to meet my cameraman and his situation that I was helping Greg, ironically enough. That's that guy. I want to take you back to Walker and Delker. When that guy came in the courtroom, that was the guy that came in to murder me. He was also going to shoot Erin Day, too. Walked into a dark office that was closed, went into the back of the office, walked through a conference room door, didn't say a word, slid along the wall, moving chairs, and pulled out a gun to shoot me in the face, and Greg opened the door. Now this is an important part. Carrie Lemiuex the next day tries to cover for this guy. When me and Erin are talking, we got to find out who this is. We got to check the cameras. So think about this. Carrie started covering up the investigation for the murder. Right? Just like they did in Miami. You know who I put in charge of it? Carrie. You know what I found later? Calls from detectives that they were trying to investigate.
Hi, this is Sergeant Matola with Miami Beach Police. If you can give me a call back at 305-877-2427 regarding your case from the Ritz. Thank you.
They shut that down. So these paralegals didn't only tell them where I was going, but cover up the murder attempts. One with that guy in it. There's his photo. We'll post it. The investigation in Miami. Think about this. Eillen comes in there with another assistant that we brought in. You know what? They investigate Miami. Then I'm putting in jail Judge Delker, right? On the 2nd day there, after I survived the murder attempt with Erin, a week later I'm in jail. I've got this attorney that comes in to see me, and 30 hours after they've taken my blood pressure 6 times. What's that attorney's name?
Broderick.
Broderick. Now I wrote Broderick, he gave me an option to live or die. Take the deal. See, I'm trying not to swear. But I told them no. And that night, they tried to murder me. That's why I wrote that note. I'll post that evidence. That's hard evidence that Broderick knew. Do you know who became Aaron Day's attorney when I got out of jail? After they tried to kill me for the third time? Broderick. I want you to grasp this. In jail, and that was Carrie. In Miami, that was Carrie. Eillen's job at that point was to cover up those murder attempts and the murder attempt in prison, because I had fired Carrie afterwards, all right? 3 murder attempts. Brian Toomey has it on his computer. Carrie, Eillen. Now think about it. Why won't any FBI agent, U.S. attorney touch that computer? Because U.S. Attorney Gakavas was working with Eillen and a plant named Jonathan Irish. They got into this computer, right? They knew that was going to catch these guys in the murder attempts. That's why just even recently, Eillen's Landies office was broken into. We'll put the guy's name up there, and he's a felon, and they leveraged him. You see? Everything that Shaheen dropped off to us. At the 11th hour, we got a hearing on Monday. We got this 6 days ago, just before Labor Day weekend. You see what I'm saying? And in this, they're trying to say, don't say murder. Don't bring up these witnesses. Now think about what that courtroom in Tucker has that's so valuable. He's got that audio that was taken by Aaron Day and Eillen, Kill Gill. They took that recording. I wanted to go to Trump with it. They wanted it released. It was Aaron Day and the assistant on that. They knew they were covering up for those murder attempts. When this guy turned around and said at the very same time, in the same murder attempts they were covering up, that he was being hired by Sequoias. Now, Sequoias is the right-hand man of Aganos. He is the partner and owner of Autofair with Cruz. He's hiring this guy to murder me. Get it? Judge Tucker has that. Why isn't that being investigated? Except for now, the partner and owner of Autofair, Sequoias, resigned. How many owners resigned? Can you even do that? You see what I'm saying? This is an investigation, a cover-up for the attempts to murder me. See? 3 attempts in the murder to hire. Why aren't they investigating that? That's why if you get Brian Toomey, you get Carrie, you get Eillen, you get Aaron Day, let's find out for a second. We have these criminals in this courtroom. We have the witnesses and the evidence that'll put them in jail and have a chain reaction throughout this country. You had a false vote on Medicaid expansion because we know of 2 senators there that were corrupt and using Medicaid expansion to pay for the treatment centers so the drug dealers get the money. See? This same network of protection are covering insurers. Who do you think were paying all these people that we're protecting? Was the insurers. Now think about this in closing. $50 million signed. You've seen it. The people's names are on that. The people's name I'm in courtroom with. You see, they were all my attorneys. They were all corrupted. These people are all witnesses. Brian Toomey gives us the corruption in the banking department. He gives us the corruption in the IRS. He was working with Titka and Morley. You see, he gives us those. That banking department gives you those drug dealers. Brian gives you murder for hire and braces it back to Walker and Shaheen. Carrie does the same thing and the cover-up. Eillen gives you... You know what Eillen said as soon as Aaron left? And Greg, you were my witness because you were there along with someone else. And what was said was, Aaron was a spy. Aaron was copying you with his computer. She was saying that for days to you, right, Greg?
Yeah. No, she was setting it up days before that. Aaron's very curious about all the information and what I know, and I think he's a spy, she said.
Here's the rule. When you catch one of them, and I caught him with the recording, Aaron knew they were covering up the murder, so he had to go, right? That's why he was on this case with me, really working for them. I had put on court records that Aaron told me prior to turning that Shaheen was working with his attorneys covertly off the record, See, it's an insurance fraud. Aaron didn't pay a dime. We'll even show you that notice that the court said not a dime. It's the insurance covering up for the treatment centers and the drug dealers because it goes back to the insurers. You get it? It's the same people who cover up. I know this is a lot, but it's that important. So Eillen would give you a fixed Senate race in the state of New Hampshire. They would give you the clerks of courts. And you'd find a way of corruption before the lawyers and the judges even get their hands dirty. Don't forget, we have a witness, that Leanne Peters. Why send somebody, an assistant clerk of courts, to spy on me at the risk of getting caught, which she did? At the risk of them getting caught to set me up to be murdered. Those clerk of courts did that in LaFrancois' courtroom. They knew what was going to happen to me, and they are involved. When they take those kind of risks, that's what it means. When we ask for a 91A on this information, that's why Anne Marie Dempsey, the lawyer for ex-Governor Hassan, who protected her information and off the 91A. That's how important this is. All right? So this is what we get. We get senators. We get an AG's office. We get a drug cartel. We get a system of how they launder their money and protect their assets. Where are they hiding the money? And I'll bet you didn't notice, a lot of people. Jerry Little, the banking department, the guy I told I was going to put to jail. He was a state senator with Kevin Avard. He put a bill in. You know what this bill said? As long as we trust you, the banking department doesn't have to audit you anymore. No kidding. Read the bill. And a miracle happened. You know what the miracle was? Guess who got appointed to be the banking department commissioner? Jerry Little. He wrote the law that allows him to say, I trust you, forget about it. Which also gives him a way out and protects these drug banks, because guess what? We trust you, Dick Aganos. We trust you, Cruz, Griner. You see? So this came to Aaron Day, bringing me the drug dealers. I didn't have the drug dealers. I've got 5 children. Nobody's on drugs. I didn't know these people, and they haven't done one thing to harm me. But they are killing your kids and the future in this state. And that's good enough for me to fight to the death, because that's what this is. You show me a movie like this. Aaron Day came to me because he had to make it public or they would have killed him. Just in time, because in one of the meetings they did. You got it? Then when Aaron Day, they finally sued us instead of murdering us at that point, turned around and cut a deal. Aaron Day worked for those insurers and Bill Shaheen with Eillen. You give him immunity, you get them all. You get Eillen, so in other words, we go right in there. I saved your life, Aaron, and you put my life at stake. That's what happened here. This is how important it is. So you ask yourself, what's worth killing for? I don't know. Maybe something that's worth $50 million? Now I want you to see what happened with this. This is the ambush. And let me not forget the media. We can't get those logs. Yet that Anne Marie wanted to get them and destroy them. And when we tried, we looked, I sent Greg. You know what Greg found? Found the name. Amy Cavino. What is that, MUR? She took 9 volumes out of the Tucker case. I'm sorry, 5 volumes? 6 volumes. Let's be accurate. 6 volumes. We can't get them. She got them. They got to sell this cover-up. These are your drug dealers. This is the head of corruption throughout your state, right? The press, who's their biggest clients, have got to sell this. So Monday becomes a very important day because they're going to try to shut me up. And seeing I've got a couple of arrest warrants because this thing put his ass in jail. Anderson is the extortion part. It's all run by Shaheen. Mike Gill, State of Corruption.
Hey, I just delivered Mike's motion to the court in the Aganos case. Remind you that Mike had only gotten the motions from Shaheen and Gordon last Thursday, and they were doing the court tomorrow, the 8th. In addition to that, there's a September 11th hearing on this case, but that the clerk of courts has no record that any notice of hearing has been set out on this case. Never provided any sort of receipts or mailings to show that the hearing notice has been set out. The only reason Mike had known about this hearing is because Amy Cavino had spoken to him and said that there was a hearing on September 11th. I remind you, this is the same Amy Cavino that took out 6 files from this case. And I had taken a picture of that, and I almost got arrested at this very courthouse for doing so. So that's where we're at. That's the situation. As you can see, it's dated, it's time-stamped, and it's into the court as a motion right now. And these are responses Mike had to file by tomorrow. A short time frame. The stack of paperwork that Shaheen and Gordon provided was months worth of work, and they give you a short time frame to turn around and give a response to that.